Ever wondered how to update your Android and iOS applications in real time? With the help of a capacitor plugin, we can do live reload, and that's what we are going to see in this video. So let's get started. This video is sponsored by the Capawesome team, but if they would not have sponsored, still I would have made the video possible as it is very useful to use the live update plugin. Now here I have created a new project. This is the command which I have used to create a new project and then running Ionic serve here. This is up and running in the browser now. We are going to look into the pros and cons of this particular plugin into our application. So let's get started. Now in order to understand this plugin, I will simply go to the browser and search for Capawesome. Now the first link that comes up is capawesome.io. You just need to open it up in another browser tab. And this is how it's going to look like. You just need to go to the plugin section and there is a plugin called Live-update. There are lots of plugins which you can simply check, but the Live-update one is the one which we are going to work with in this video. This is supporting capacitor version 6, which is the latest version, and it supports Android and iOS with the cloud support and also allows you to do lots of things for the security part also. This is how you need to install the plugin. Let me just copy it and go for the installation part in another shell prompt. This is where I'm going to install it. And the next command is Ionic Cap sync. Since we do not have the www folder and the platforms added for the time being, I'm not going to sync the project. Once we create that, we are going to do it. The next step that is given is to set it up for Android and iOS. But for Android, let me make sure that you don't need to do anything here in the Android one in the variables.gradle file. Don't need to pass all this. If you're using some other plugin which is using this particular features and the versions are changed, then you have to use it. Otherwise, you don't have to use it. In precise, don't touch it. Now for the iOS, the privacy manifest is must to provide when you're publishing it in App Store, as it is recommended by the Apple team. So you need to pass it in this particular location by creating a file called privacyinfo.exe privacy. That's what we are going to implement, but for the development part itself, you don't need to pass it. Just for the production one, definitely you have to do it when you're publishing it. Remember that. After that, this is how the configuration can be used for this particular plugin here, which you need to pass in the capacitor.config.ts file. This is how you need to pass it. All right, we are going to check all of it. But in order to understand all these things, you need to first check the Cloud Console. That is what we are going to use because this plugin basically does what? Let me explain you that part first. As you already know that this plugin is used to update your app remotely in real time. So whether you have installed the application in your real device, emulator, simulator, you have published it in App Store, Play Store, wherever you have published it, simply it's going to update it in real time. You don't have to publish any update for that. That's how it's going to work. But there are some limitations. What are the limitations? If you go to the block section, this is the block section. If you go there, you will see that how it will work. It is explained here. Now, what is the concept behind it? That it works only in the web layer because that's where you can make the changes in the HTML, CSS and JavaScript part. That is in the functionality part or in the UI part mainly. But if you're trying to implement any extra plugin, like you're installing another plugin and trying to launch an update with the help of this particular plugin, it's not going to work as this is not allowed by the App Store or the Play Store or the Apple and the Google one. So you cannot do this part. The only thing that you can change is the web layer. That's where this comes into play. So this is actually a con. I won't say it's a con. It's basically something which is not allowed. You cannot do it, right? But the things that can be allowed, it's must. Like we use live reload. So we have already made lots of videos on live reloads where we are executing our application directly into the Android device or the iOS device and check out the real-time changes. But that part is dependent on the wire. When the wire is connected, then only it's going to work in the real device or the emulator and simulator. Only in my device it's going to work. But if I publish it somewhere else, then how it's going to work, right? That's not going to work. And also you need to run that particular command, then only it's going to work, like Ionic Cap run Android or run iOS for the live reload one, then only it's going to show the changes. But here, that part is not required. Without that, we are going to see how it works. Now let's go to the cloud part here. In the cloud part, we need to set up everything because there are two ways by which we can set this particular plugin for changing everything in real time. One is the
cloud console, that is of the Capawesome, and the other one is the self-hosted. You can host the things in your own server and use it up. So that's completely your choice, but you need to understand how to work with both of them. Then you decide which one to use. For the cloud one, it's pretty easy to integrate. I'll go to the CLI at first and install the Capawesome CLI so that I can use it for creating a bundle by using the command npx capawesome, and whatever you need to do, you can do it up. So I'm going to run this command here, but as I have already installed, so if there is any latest version, I'm going to go for the at latest and install it up, and it's going to install the latest version into my system. Once that will be done, I can use it whatever I want, but I'll directly move to which part? I'll go to Live-update actually, not the console one. I'll go to Live-update, get started. This is where I need to go. And here it is saying that for the preparations, create an account on Capawesome Cloud Console. So let's go to Cloud Console. And if I just scroll down, it is saying the next step is installation of the plugin, which we have already done. So we don't need to take care of it. The next one will be the configuration, where we can get the app ID from the Cloud Console only. So this is the Cloud Console, which I have opened it up, and I have already created an app earlier on where I have 3 bundles. Now you get only 100 MB for free in the free plan. Otherwise, you have to upgrade to unlock more features, of course. And in this particular application, I have already used around 76 MB of my space. So I have another 24 MB left. Let's do it. So I'll just create another app here. I'll name it as Live-update. You can give any name you want. Once this is created, I'll just copy the ID. Okay, in this particular way. Once I do that up, what I need to do is I'll go to my application here in the capacitor.config.ts. I have already pasted this plugins Live-update, which I have got from this particular one, the Live-update. And if you just scroll down, you will see after the configuration, this was shown. I have already shown you this part, right? So in the plugins section, it is already shown this particular part. So I have just copied it, and I'm going to replace this app ID here. That's it. Okay, because you need to use your own app ID. Now here, auto delete bundle is another feature with the help of which you can remove the earlier bundles which are not in use. So that's what you can do after the ready function will be called. So what is ready function? We are going to check that out, but that's how it's going to work. So it's better if you're using the free version, you need to delete the unused bundles, and that's how you can get more space out of it. Now, if you want to use the plugin, by default it is true. You can set it to false if you don't want to use this particular plugin. Then when this case might occur, you when you're publishing any update, then you can stop it. You can do anything you want. So this is also very handy. If you don't want to use this plugin, you can just switch it off by turning it to false. Now the next one is the location. By default, the US location for the server is shown, but you can change it to Europe also if you want to. For more details, you can go to Capawesome Cloud and check it out. Then there is a public key and a private key also. How to create that, I'm going to show you that part also. That part is optional, but used for the security purpose. So I think you should definitely try it out. The other thing are ready timeout and reset on update. So by default, 10 seconds timeout is given, and reset on update is set to true by default. So you can change it as per your requirement. For the time being, I am not using any other things because I want to use the default stuff. That's it. So everything is good to go here. We have done the installation part. Let's see what else we need to do here. So where was I? Okay, I was in the bundles. So I've come back to the cloud part, and let's see what are the next steps. So I've got the app ID and I have already put it here. The next step is syncing it. So I'll sync it when I create it for platforms like iOS and Android. So don't need to worry, we are going to just do it in some time. Now the next step will be to execute this particular code into our application so that we can use this functionality pretty nicely. The first one is the live-update.ready function, which we have already seen that in the auto delete bundle, the ready function was called. This is the ready function that will be called. And this method is called directly after the app starts to notify that the app is ready to use and no rollback is required, which means no going back to the earlier version is required. There is a rollback functionality also provided by the Capawesome team for this particular plugin. If the latest bundle is not working properly or there are some crashes, it will roll back to the earlier version. That's how it can work. So it is quite smart to work with. Now this particular functionality you have understood. The next one is the sync functionality, which is used to download and set the latest bundle for the app. So it's going to get the latest bundle from the Cloud Console and download it for use. So in that way, you will have every time the latest code in your application. Okay, so that's what we need to implement. Let's do it into our code. So I will go to the app.component.ts file and I have already prepared it up. Just want to show you. First of all, I'll get my platform ready, for which this is the injection which I need to do for the platform one. So inject function, I will use it to inject this particular one. You can pass it in the constructor also for injection. Now I'll call platform.ready. So as soon as the app is ready, I'm going to execute my code, which is the live update. In the live update function, I have passed live update.ready function, and after that I'm syncing it up. So I need to just import it from this particular plugin. It's done. The error is gone. Okay, and this platform you need to import from at ionic/angular/standalone if you're using the standalone project. If you're using the ng modules project, you don't need to pass standalone at the very end. Okay, I hope you have understood this particular part. Now this is a sync function which I have prepared. Same functionality, just wrapping it up in try-catch block. Now I didn't explain you this particular part. Well, basically, if you have any next bundle, means any update in the bundle, then reload will be done, which means your app will be reloaded at the same time, in real time actually. So in that way, it will have the latest changes whenever you're calling the sync function. That's how it's going to work. So everything is same as shown here. We are good to go with this particular part. Now it's time to create, first of all, the www folder using the command ionic build. Without that, if we run the platform's creation, it's not going to work pretty nicely. It's going to show that this will be missing. Now we have the www folder created. Everything is synced up already in that. Now I'm going to run ionic cap add iOS. So it's going to create the platform for the iOS, and same goes for the Android too. I'm going to create that in a moment. Now it's time to go for the Android to be created. Alright, both the platforms are created. In the Android, we don't have to do anything. For the iOS, I'll go to the app folder, create a file. The file name will be what? Let's check it out here. What was the file name? I'm just going to show you. This is optional. Let me again tell you that. But still, I'll show you how it can be done. So I'll just create a file here, name it privacyinfo.xeprivacy, and here simply copy this particular code and paste it. Okay, basically used for privacy policy by the Apple team to provide that which all permissions you are taking from the user. That's how it works. So that is why it is used. Now it's not mandatory for the time being. Let's skip that. I've shown you that part, how it can be done. Now let's move ahead to the next step, which is to create a bundle. Now in order to create a bundle, we have already installed the Capawesome CLI, so we can directly use this command to create a bundle. Let's go for it. I'll just hit this command to create this bundle, and let's see what happens. I need to pass the path, which will be our www folder in this particular case, because that has all the web part. Okay, this is the web part that we need. Now we need to select the app. This will be our live update, and I don't want to use any channel for the time being because I have not explained you that part. I'll explain you the channel part, what does it actually means and how we can use it up into our application. Now this is done. This is the bundle ID which is created. Let's go to our Cloud Console and check it out whether the bundle is created or not. I'll just reload it, and we will see for this particular app we have one bundle created. If I go inside that, this is the bundle and the size is 3.31 MB, because in our application I have in the assets folder some images which I'm going to use it up to show you what all changes I have made. So don't need to worry. For the time being, we haven't made any changes, but I am going to do the changes, then I'm going to show you up. Alright, so this is ready now, and we have no devices where we saw the updates. Now everything is ready. I'm going to run npx cap sync or ionic cap sync. Also you can run ionic cap sync. If you don't want to do the syncing part, still it's fine because we haven't made any changes as of now into our application. But still it's a good practice to work with. Now let's open it up in iOS and Android both. We'll build the project there, then we'll make slight changes and create another bundle and see whether the changes are reflected or not. So the Xcode has opened up. Let me select the simulator. The latest version of iOS is 17.5 for the time being, and run this up. Meanwhile, I will open it up in Android also. That means the Android Studio. I'm going to open it up. Trust the project. And I'm going to select an emulator here and hit the run button. So this is installed and it is up and running. So now you can see it is up and running in our Android and iOS devices, which is good. Now it's time to check for updates. So I'm going to open up the project and make slight changes, which we can see into the browser now because our Ionic server is already running. I'll go to the home page and let me clear up everything. I'll just remove each and everything here. In the SCSS also, I'm just going to remove everything. And in the TS file, let me get rid of this particular code. Means the imports, I'm going to remove it because we're not using it for the time being, right? Let's remove everything here. Fine, it's ready now. So it's a blank one. Let's check it out whether these changes are implemented or not. So I'm going to create a bundle again by using this particular command, npx capawesome apps bundles create. So this will create a new bundle. Let's check it out whether it works or not. I'll just hit enter. Okay. After making the changes, I need to run Ionic Cap sync, or you can run Ionic build because our www folder needs to be changed, right, with the latest version or with the latest code. If you don't do that, this creating bundle also won't help you out. So syncing is done. Everything is good to go. Now I'll go for creating the bundle here. Let's go for it. And I'll just pass the location www. Then select the app, specific channel, no. And it's going to upload the latest bundle. It's done. So our latest bundle will show up here. Let's check it out after reloading. We have our bundle here. Great. And no devices as of now is showing that. Now it's time to check the update. What we will see here, let's check it out. So in both the cases, the update is not showing up for the time being. What if I reload it up? So let me just close the application. This is the application. Let me open it once again. And you see it's showing a blank one. So our changes are reflected. Let's do the same here too. Wait for it. And you will see that here also the changes are getting reflected. So the next time you open the application, it's going to show up the changes, but sometimes it works directly also. I have seen that if you have opened the application, still it shows the updates, but if it is not happening, close it and open it up again, then you will see the update properly. So now it is working, right? I have not run any live reload or something into my application and it's still running nicely, which is a great thing. We have seen one of the things right now with the cloud console, but it's time to check the security part and the specific channel also. We are going to execute all of it right now. So I'm going to make little changes into my application and build it up again for Android and iOS because I'll be actually first of all installing a plugin called npm swiper. This is the plugin which I need to show there as I'm going to show you the slides. Okay. And in the code, I will make some changes into the app.component.ts file to target a specific channel. And for doing that, I first have to create a channel, right? So for having a specific channel, let me check what is to be done. These are the channels part. You can in fact delete a bundle also by using this command. So definitely you can check it out. For the channels, this is how you can create a channel. This is how you can delete it. Okay. So in order to create it, let me do it from here itself, or you can do it from the cloud console also by going to the app. Inside the app, if you go there, you can create a channel directly from here itself, which I don't want to do. I want to do it from the command itself. Let's do it. Create a channel and I'm going to hit enter for this particular app. Yes, the channel name will be, let's say, live update channel. And what it does is, let me explain you first, then you will understand what's the use of it. So it is a very powerful tool that allows you to distribute different versions of your app to different group of users. So basically when you are going for testing purpose, you want a specific group of people to check or test that particular application, right? In that case, you can launch updates only on that specific channel and they will get the updates on their devices. So it comes in very handy in some of the cases. For the time being, I'm just going to show you how you can execute it up. All right, I'll give the name and hit enter. Now this channel is created. After creating a channel, if you want this device to show up that particular channel thing, then you need to do something here. You need to use live-update dot set channel function, and in the set channel you have certain options. How we will see that up? Well, there is another a block part here where version channels is shown. This is how you create it and this is how you use it. So get version code and you can set it in the channel itself here. These two things you need to do. So I'm going to just copy it and pass it here instead of this particular one. Let me pass it here, or you can create another function for it if you want. Now here, if you don't have any name, definitely you can pass it with the version, but I don't want to use the version here. So I'll just comment it and simply pass here the channel ID, channel name that we have created. So which is actually live update channel. Okay. Mostly you need to use the version code. That's a better option to work with. But as of now, I'm going to go with this particular one and see how it works. Now this time, I've set the channel, right? I think everything is good to go. I'll just go for the Ionic Cap sync because I'm not going to make any changes into the UI as of now until unless I build it. After building it up, I'm going to make the changes into the UI and show it up to you how it works with this particular one. So this is done. So this is my Android Studio. Let me just hit the run button once again and see whether it shows the real changes or not, which is basically after building, you will see all the latest changes. Let's check it out. Now let me open the application on Android and iOS once again. So Ionic Cap, open Android and open iOS. I'm going to run Ionic Cap, open iOS and simply run it here for the iOS and minimize it. Run it for Android also at the same time. So now you can see the changes are not getting reflected, right? Even after building it up because our plugin is enabled, right? Since it is enabled, so we need to create a bundle for this particular changes, then only it's going to show it up. So let me just create this bundle here. This time, let's go for the bundle. But directly, I'm not going to create the bundle this time. Why? I'm going to create the private and public key also. I want to show you that part also. Let's do it here then. For doing that, I'll go to the Cloud Console where it is. Let's move it to the devices part. I'll just show you the devices also briefly. You can delete the device. You can create device. Okay, it will be created automatically for the first time by using the live update feature. So it's not a problem. And the advanced one, code signing is there, for which you need to run this command for the private key. Let's check it out by running this command here. And what changes do we get? We get a key pair.pam file. And after that, you just need to run this particular one for the public key. I'll just hit this command and I get the public key.crt. Copy this code. And what you need to do, you need to pass it in your capacitor.config.ts file in the public key, which is already being passed. So need to replace this code here. In this file, replace it. And you will get certain errors which you need to fix by just moving it in one line. Just make sure everything is in one line here for the public key. Now you see the error is gone and we are good to go. Now let's sync the project once again. Ionic Cap sync. After syncing, what we need to do? Well, let's check it out. For the privacy, you can just check all these things. You can in fact give the channel name. For the rollbacks, you can just check it here, how you can work with the rollback part. Rollout also is applicable. Great. So now we have integrated the security part also. It's time to create the bundle. But for creating the bundle, let's check it here in the code signing. You can check it out. This is how you can create a signed bundle. So make sure if you are creating a signed bundle, the next time if you are creating another bundle, that needs to be signed too. And if you're not signing it bundle earlier on, make sure the next one is also not signed. Okay. So just like a development part and the production part, make sure you are working in the same way. And this part is optional. So if you don't sign a bundle also, still it's pretty fine to work with. Okay. This private key and public key is an optional thing. So you can use it for production purpose. For development part, you can still skip it. That is why I'm showing you two different times. Okay, let's implement it now. I'm just going to hit this command and go for the www folder here. Once that is done, select the app, select the channel. Channel name is Live Update Channel. This is the name, and the bundle is signed up. It's just uploading and it's done. Everything is good to go. Once this is uploaded, let's check it out here whether the changes are getting reflected or not. After closing this app and running it once again, let's see. Okay, we won't see any changes because we haven't made any changes, right? It is still a blank project for us. So everything is good to go. So far, so good. Now it's time to implement some changes and see whether it works or not. What I will do is I will go to the home page, and in the home page, I'm going to execute some of the code for using the sliders. But in order to execute that up, I need to go to home page TS file and pass a variable which will hold our images and one for the swiper modules, so that we can use the features of the slider, means the swiper.js features. That's why Ionic slide should be used, and I need to import it from at Ionic / Angular / standalone. Okay, as this is a standalone project, name should be proper and the error is gone. Once this is ready, everything will be good to go. Now here I need to use custom element schema because the components that I'm going to use are not part of Angular component or in fact the Ionic components too. But I'm going to show you up that part. For the time being, just one more thing I need to do is register function. I need to use it in this way. I need to register these swiper bundles. So I need to pass the import for this register function. This is the import. Now remember, if you're using this particular thing in more than one place, then pass these two things in your app.component.ts file. Okay, like if you're using swiper modules in more than one place, then you can do that up. Otherwise, it's fine to work with that in the particular file itself. Alright, so everything is good to go into our TS file. Just one thing is required, which is the designing part into our HTML. Let's work on that. Alright, this is the code which I'm going to use. So at first, I'm going to use an iron content where full screen will be true and the color which I'll give is dark color. Then we will have swiper container within that. This is how the pattern should be for using it up. I have already made a video on this. You can simply check it out. And I've given an identifier which is not needed. So let me remove it as we are not using it anywhere. Now the swiper module which we have initialized into our TS file, I'm going to pass it to the modules property of this swiper container. Then if you want to use pagination, you can make it clickable to true. Well, actually, if you don't pass anything, the pagination won't show up. And keyboard feature, if you want to use the keyboard left, right, definitely you can use it up, but I'll remove it. I don't want to use it for the time being. If you want to use autoplay, you can use it in this way. Autoplay equals to true. That's how the autoplay will work. But if you pass it in this particular way for the version 11 of Swiper, this is not working. So let me remove that also. I don't want to use that. Now I'm using a for loop to show the onboarding screens in which I'm having a swiper slide. So every slide I'm just looping it up whenever I need, and I'm creating a div within that where I'm using the ng style to pass my background image, in which I'll have the image URL to that assets folder where we have created it, right, or where we have copied it. So this is the only thing you need to do, and you can simply have a footer also for a button. So I'm just putting up a button within the iron toolbar here, which will read get started. That's it. Now, in order to get rid of these errors, I need to do two things in my TS file. Let's go there. First is to import ng style, as you're not using any common module here, so we need to use ng style directly. The second thing is to pass custom element schema. Like I said, it's not part of Angular component or the Ionic component, so it's a custom element schema. If I give that up from add Angular /core, then the error will go away and we won't see any design so far, but at least the errors are gone. Why do we don't see any design? Because we have to provide a height to our swiper container and the swiper slide of the div. So let's work with our SCSS and see whether it works or not. I'll go to the SCSS file and I'm going to pass some CSS here, starting from our iron content within the swiper container. Well, I don't need overridden here. If you need, definitely you can work with this. But for the timing, I don't need. For the swiper container, I have given pagination color by default to be the primary color. You can change it to secondary color or tertiary. Let me give tertiary. Let's see how it looks. So I've changed it to tertiary color. This is a tertiary color which is coming up. So you can change as per your requirement. Then I've given a height of 100%. For this div also, I've given a height of 100% and a background position of center. So this image will show up properly if we give the background size to be cover or contain also you can give. But I want to take the full size, that is why cover is best. And I'm centering the position so it is properly centered up. Then background repeat, no repeat is given. These three settings are very much important when you're working with the background image. Make sure you pass it properly. After doing that, I've just make this swiper.js bullet part little bit bigger by giving a width of 40 pixels and a border radius of 4 pixels. Then a margin bottom, from the bottom I have given 1 VH margin towards the top side. So that is why it is showing in this particular way, and I have given the same for the bullet that are not active. So this is for the active one, this is for the inactive one. For the inactive one, the background color is changed to the white color and opacity is given as 1. If you don't give opacity 1, then let's see what happens. It will show up in this particular way, which is also fine, but still if you want proper opacity, definitely you can try this out. Then the border is same I have given, and the width I have just changed it to 15 pixels, little bit lesser than the active one. Alright, everything else is the same. So this is how I have designed it up. It's looking fine. You can just slide it also and see how it goes. So this is the design that we have created so far. Let's work on it by implementing it up. So I'll just run Ionic Cap sync to make the changes. And also one more thing I have implemented, which I forgot to tell you, is given a toolbar colored background to be black color. It was white color earlier. And padding also I've given so that it has some spacing here in both sides, left and right side, and the top and bottom also. And finally, I'm just changing the font size of the button text to 0.9 rem so that it looks a little smaller and it's looking great so far. Alright, syncing is done also meanwhile. Now I just need to run the bundle creation, but I think I'll get some error. Let me show you that error also. I'll just hit enter and go for www, but go for live update, specific channel, that's live update channel. Let's go for it. Alright, so it is created, but I thought it won't be created. Let's check it out. How many bundles do we have so far? So in the bundles, well, we have 4 bundles, that's summing to approximately 13 MB or so. So it's fine. We still have some more MB left. That is, I think, around we can have 24 MB something. So it's fine as of now. If you exceed that, it's going to give you the error. So far everything is fine. Let's check it out in our devices whether the changes are getting reflected or not. So I'll just close it and open it up again. Now the changes were not getting reflected into our Android and iOS emulator and simulator. And that's because the caching was there. The actual application that we build was not showing up. Basically, it was not taking the channel. Now it is taking up. What I have done is I have just removed or deleted the application from our simulator and emulator and run this up again. After doing that, it is running. Alright. Sometimes it happens if you have not launched it in Play Store and App Store, it happens that the real changes are not getting reflected. So in that case, simply delete the app and run it again. And then if you build the bundle again, it's going to show up the changes. So it's not a problem of the plugin. Actually, it happens quite often with the emulator and simulator, mostly if you're working with that. In the real device, it happens very less compared to the simulator and emulator. But yes, if this kind of problem happens, definitely remove it and launch it again. So now you can see I have run this up again by just commenting our HTML part. Okay, I have just commented the whole part. Still it is a blank project, and then I am syncing the project. After syncing, let me show the commands. So first I synced it, then I created the bundle once again, and finally opening it up in iOS and running it up again. And now let's try the same for our Android. So I'll just open Android. Okay, the app has opened up and I'm going to hit the run button. So in our Android, I have not deleted the application so far. Let's see whether the changes are getting reflected this time. If not, then I'm going to delete the app and run it again. So if it is running, and to debug it, I'll go to the Chrome Inspect, Chrome inspect devices. This is where you can test it. I'm going to go for inspect, and you can see set channel is not running, which means I need to remove this application from our device. So let me just uninstall it. I'll go to app info and go for uninstalling. Once I do that up, let me go for the run button once again and try it up. Okay, it is up and running once again. Let's check it this time. Now you see set channel is showing up. So it happens, like I said, but not a problem. We have fixed this issue. Now it's time to again uncomment this particular code and create the bundle for it, which is going to be this particular bundle, where I am also giving -- channel and the channel name so that I don't have to pass it. If you don't want to pass it directly here, you will get the option to pass the channel name. That also you can try, or you can give it in this particular way too. I'm just going to pass it in this way and pass the okay, wait. I didn't sync the project, right? So Ionic Cap sync, which is must, otherwise our www folder will not be updated with the latest code. Now the syncing is done. Let me run this command. You can run the same command, okay? And live update. I think everything will be good to go this time. Let's check it out. Okay, the error is coming up as the storage limit is over. So I need to go to console log. This is for the time being that we have here. I'm going to remove one or two. Let me remove the last one. I'll delete it. Now I'll have the space. So I'm going to run the same command again. Pass the www folder, but hit, and this time I think the error will not come up. Alright, it's created. Now once it is created, it's time to check it. I'm just going to remove the application and open it up again. And you see the changes are getting reflected. Let's do the same for our Android device also. Let me just close it and click on the application again. Sometimes it gets reload also, but I don't understand why this time the reload is not working properly, but still everything is fine. In real device, I have tested the reload works. It automatically reloads the system. So you can just try that up, because it has to hit the app.component.ts functionality once again, right? So never mind, this is working pretty nicely. We have tested the features into our emulator and simulator for the cloud functionality pretty nicely. We have seen everything that is explained here, isn't it? Now the only thing that you need to see is the rollout part and the rollback part. Basically, if you want to roll out to a certain percentage of users, then you can give it in this particular way. Like 0.1 is I think 10% or so. Yes, 10% of users, which is basically used for testing part. So you can give a value from 0 to 1. Like here it is 30%. So to 30% of the users, you are just rolling out the update. That's what you can do. So you can try all these things also, and you can check the limitations of it. Please note that rollouts are currently not compatible with version build. We therefore recommend the use of version channels for this purpose. So basically it's saying that you should use the channel part for doing this stuff. So we have already seen the channel part, right? Anyways, let's go to the pricing part now. So this cloud part is basically a paid one, but free to a certain extent, like the 100 MB for each user you are going to get, irrespective of the number of projects that you are building. I think so. And also there is one more thing. It is free up to 50 monthly active users. After that, you can choose a plan that fits your need. So you can just check the plans. If you want to take it, definitely you can try anything you want. But I would prefer to at least try the free version at first and then check it out whether you really want to take some plans or not. Okay? Completely your choice. Alright, so I have shown you this part. The second thing that we can work with is this self-hosted. If you don't want to use the cloud part, you can use this self-hosted one. How you can use it? Let's check it out. So for the self-hosted, let me go to the project once again. So here I'm going to make some changes into my capacitor.config.ts file. I don't want the app ID. Auto delete won't work. Public key will also not work, and this plugin is enabled. Yes, I want to use the plugin, of course, the live update plugin. So you can just pass enable to be true. That's pretty okay. Now I'm going to use the functionality in order to implement it for self-hosted. So I'm going to go to app.component.ts file, and here I'm going to make the changes. Now after this sync function, let me pass few more functionality. This is a completely different functionality for the self-hosted one which I have created here, where I'm going to call the HTTP request, okay, for the gate one to actually fetch the data from there, the JSON data, basically the version. We need to get it from the server itself, and also the bundle URL also we need to get it from the server. Once we get the bundle URL, we need to download that particular bundle using the download function, which is in the live-update.download function. Okay, once you do that up, it will be downloaded from the URL and along with the bundle ID, because it takes two parameters. One is the bundle ID and the first one will be the URL. After doing that, you have to set this bundle as a current bundle, and you can do that with the help of set bundle function, which is available here. And after doing that, you can just pass the reload function. Okay, so this is the functionality which you need to do for actually working with the self-hosted. Now we are using here the Capacitor HTTP, capacitorjs.com, the official plugin of Capacitor for the HTTP. I'm directly using that up. You don't need to install it. You can directly use it and import it from @angular/code and use it up. Here also HTTP response, I'm just going to import it. If you need to use the HTTP client, definitely you can try that also. Here I have just shown the code for that. You can just try it up. But remember, in browser, it might give you the course error. You might face that up. So be careful when you're working with that. And I'm going to pass my domain in the environment. So you can just pass your own domain. I will pass mine. So let me go to environment.ts and I'm going to pass my domain name here. Okay. So this is the place where I have kept the JSON file, where I'm going to get the version, bundle ID, basically the bundle ID and the URL. That has to be dynamic, because every time you are uploading a new bundle to the hosted server, you have to fetch it through the bundle ID, because if the bundle ID is same, it's not going to detect whether there is any change in the new bundle or not. That is why you need to call the HTTP request, and this is little tough than the cloud functionality. That is why cloud functionality is quite easy to work with, but this part you have to manage it on your own. So anyways, I'm just going to show you that part now. So this functionality is ready. What am I going to do is, you simply need to call, instead of the live update, this particular function, and that's it. You don't need to do anything else. You just need to again create the project. So Ionic Cap sync I'm going to run, and what is there in this particular JSON file, I'm going to show you that part also, what exactly I'm trying to call. So I'm just trying to call bundle check one.json file, because every time you update, you have to make sure that you are getting the proper JSON data. Alright, I think there was an error coming up because I didn't pass it in the environment.prod.ts file. Now it is done. So I don't think there will be any more problem, because the domain, you have to pass it in both the places. So you have understood this particular part. You will also get this in the documentation itself, like this download bundle function, then get bundle, fetch bundle, and all other things. You can try it out. Now here it is ready. Okay. What am I going to do? I'm just going to create the bundle once again. So once this is ready, what I need to do is I need to copy this www folder. So let me reveal in Finder. Now I've copied that folder. What I'll do is I'll just paste it here and zip it here. Okay, compress and change the name to, let's say, bundle 1-0-0. Okay, that's what the name is going to be. And this is how my JSON data will look like. Say like you have the bundle name, bundle 2-0-0, something of that kind. Okay, and bundle version, or in fact, I think I have changed it in the server. Let me just show you. Now, as you can see, this is how the JSON data will look like. I'm going to change it to 1.0.0, and this will be my bundle name. Let me copy it. And actually here I have the same name, so there won't be any problem. So I've just shown you that part in my server, and now everything is good to go. I just need to upload it. So now I've selected the file and I'm uploaded it into the server. It's ready to use. So it's time to try it. I've synced the project, right? And everything is ready. It's time to build it. Ionic Cap, open iOS. Let's see whether the changes will reflect there or not. And I've removed the app ID, if you have seen that, in the capacitor.config.ts file, because we don't need that. This was required only for the cloud part. That is why. Now let's run this up and see what changes comes up. If the changes are not reflected properly, we are going to remove the application and run it again. Alright, let's check it out, what it shows. And we see the latest update, I think. No, the sync function is working, but I haven't called the sync function, and set channel is working, so I need to delete it. I have to remove this application. Alright, the application is removed. Let me just run it again. And this time, let's see what happens. You see, this time, this particular bundle is getting called and there is nothing else is getting called. Okay, like the channel or anything else. So it's fine. It's running here. Let's do the same for our Android too, for which I'm going to open the project in Android Studio in this way and remove the application. Let me uninstall it. Alright, this is uninstalled now. After doing that, I'm just going to run it again and we are good to go. Everything runs fine. Okay, so let's try to make some changes and see how it works. But there is a minor issue that can occur is with the bundle. The JSON file that I have called here is, I think, bundle 1 most probably, but sometimes due to caching, the update is not working properly. So we have to check whether it works or not. Let's try it. What I'll do is, I will try to change the color here. So let me go to variables.scss, and pass some customized color to this particular project. So this is the code that I'm using, where the primary color is changed, the secondary color I've changed to greenish, and tertiary color also I've changed. These three colors I've changed, rest of the colors will remain the same. Now this bluish color will become your pinkish color here. Okay, let's see whether it gets applicable or not. And I'm going to try it now. Along with that, you can also try to make some changes in your code also, like now, get started now. Okay, we have made the changes. It's time to sync the project by using Ionic Cap sync command. Alright, the syncing is done. It's time to go to the www folder. So this is our www folder. Let me just get a bundle out of it by compressing it. After compressing it, I'm going to change the name to bundle 2-0-0. Just change the name. Along with that, I need to change the data in the JSON file there too. So let me remove this particular one and this will be fine. So this will be my value, which was 100 earlier and 200 here. Now I have changed it and I'll just save it. It was already saved, so not a problem. And I have changed the JSON file data. I have uploaded the latest bundle. It's time to check it out whether the changes are getting reflected or not. Okay, so how do we do that up? Well, I'll go to the application here. Well, I'll open it up in Android and iOS. So it's time to try it in our devices. I'll just dock it outside. View mode, window. Let's check it out whether the changes are getting reflected or not. So let me try it in our iOS device at first. I'm just going to close it and open it up again. So the changes are not getting reflected here for the time being. Let's see why it is happening. I'll go to inspect and check it out. What's wrong? So here the response is pretty fine. We are getting the proper response. What about a download? Well, it's able to download it also. But there is an error here. It is saying that the bundle does not contain an index.html file. Why is it so? Now in my code, instead of the JSON file, I am directly using an API. That would be better because I think that the JSON file will be cached. So if you remove the cache, then you can still use it up. I'm not going to try that right now. And I've already synced the project. It's time to run it in Android and iOS. And I have already removed the application from both the simulator and emulator. So let's try it now and see whether it works or not. So I'm running in both iOS and Android, and let's see. All right, in the Android one it is working, and for the iOS also it's working here, right? And you can see the latest changes are getting reflected. Now what am I going to do? Let's work on that. So we have built the project. It's time to change the data. So I'm going to just apply some different styling to it by passing the colors in my root for the primary, secondary and tertiary. So these are the colors which I'm just going to apply right now. And after applying those colors, what I'll do is I'll also make a change in my HTML. I'll name it as get started now. Okay. Once I do that up, let's try it this time after syncing the project. I'll sync it. Okay. After syncing, I'm going to just zip the bundle and pass it there. So it is ready. Now I have zipped the bundle and changed the name to, let's say, bundle 3_0_0. That's gonna be my name of the bundle. Let's upload it to the server. So it is about to be uploaded to the server, and I'm going to change the JSON data. Also the bundle ID I'm going to change along with the bundle zip name too. Once I do that up, it's time to try it in the devices by just stopping it and running it again. Let's try it here. I'll just open it up. And you see the changes are getting reflected into our Android. Let's check it for the other one too. So it's time to try it into our iOS one. I'll just close it and open it up again and see whether the changes are getting reflected or not. You see the changes are getting reflected, and we have successfully implemented the changes into our Android and iOS simulator and emulator using this self-hosted feature.
If you're new here, subscribe to the channel, leave a like and hit the bell icon to get all the notifications. This content is for free and it will help the channel grow. So stay tuned to the channel for more valuable content and level up your coding only on Coding Techniques.